This conversation is powered by Google Illuminate. Check out illuminate.google.com for more. Welcome to today's discussion. We're diving into a fascinating paper titled Modeling Language Usage and Listener Engagement in Podcasts, which explores the often unseen connection between how podcasters speak and how well their listeners engage. It's a topic close to my heart, and I'm excited to have an expert here to unpack it.
The relationship between linguistic style and listener engagement is complex, but incredibly important for podcast success.
Absolutely. The paper uses a massive data set of podcasts, right? How did they define engagement in this study?
They cleverly defined engagement as the stream rate, the percentage of first-time listeners who stick around for at least 5 minutes. It's a good measure because it focuses on the content itself rather than overall popularity.
That's a smart approach. So what kind of linguistic features did they analyze?
They looked at a wide range, from vocabulary diversity and sentiment to sentence structure, and even the presence of filler words. It was a really comprehensive analysis.
Let's start with vocabulary. Did they find that more diverse vocabularies led to higher engagement?
Yes, across the board, higher vocabulary diversity in both the podcast descriptions and the transcripts correlated with higher engagement. It seems listeners appreciate a richer, more nuanced language style.
Interesting. What about sentiment? Did positive language always win out?
Mostly, yes. Positive sentiment was generally associated with higher engagement. However, there were exceptions. For example, in popular crime podcasts, a bit of fear or suspense actually seemed to boost engagement.
That's a nuanced finding. What about other stylistic elements like sentence structure and filler words?
They found that high engagement podcasts tended to use more conjunctions and adverbs, suggesting a more complex sentence structure. Filler words, on the other hand, were generally associated with lower engagement. It seems listeners prefer a more polished and concise delivery.
The paper also built predictive models, right? How accurate were they at predicting engagement based on linguistic features alone? Remarkably accurate. They achieved over 70% accuracy in distinguishing between high and low engagement podcasts using only the linguistic features they identified.
That's impressive. Did they use any other types of models?
Yes, they also used models based on n-grams and even BERT, a powerful language model. These models achieved even higher accuracy, up to 81%, demonstrating the strong predictive power of textual information in general. So the linguistic features were a good starting point, but the more sophisticated models provided even better predictions. The study also compared podcasts to TED Talks. Were the findings similar?
There were some similarities, such as longer talk/podcast generally correlating with higher engagement. However, there were also key differences. For instance, while diverse vocabulary was linked to higher engagement in both, simpler language seemed to be favored in TED Talks, possibly because of the different contexts and audiences.
That's fascinating. It highlights how the optimal linguistic style might vary depending on the medium and the audience. The paper also touches on the ethical implications of using engagement metrics. What are some of the concerns?
There's a risk that optimizing for engagement could inadvertently promote harmful or misleading content. It's crucial to remember that engagement doesn't necessarily equate to quality or truth.
Absolutely. It's a complex issue. Did the study find any evidence of harmful content being associated with high engagement in podcasts?
No, their manual review of the top 10% of podcasts by engagement didn't reveal any harmful content. However, this doesn't mean the risk is non-existent. It just suggests that in this particular data set, high engagement wasn't linked to harmful content.
What are some of the limitations of this study?
The dataset was limited to podcasts from Spotify and used automatically generated transcripts, which could introduce errors. Also, the engagement metric was specific to Spotify's platform and might not generalize to other platforms. Finally, the study only looked at correlations, not causation.
Good points. It's important to remember that these are correlations, not guarantees of success. What are some avenues for future research in this area?
There's a lot of potential. Researchers could explore paralinguistic features like intonation and pitch, investigate how linguistic features change over the course of an episode, and use manually transcribed data for more accurate analysis. Also, studying how engagement varies across different demographic groups would be valuable.
Definitely. Understanding the nuances of listener engagement is a complex but crucial task. So, to summarize, this paper provides valuable insights into the relationship between linguistic style and listener engagement in podcasts. It highlights the importance of vocabulary diversity, positive sentiment, and a polished delivery, while also cautioning against over-reliance on engagement metrics as a measure of quality.
Precisely. The study offers a strong foundation for future research and provides practical guidance for podcast creators seeking to improve listener engagement.
That was a great discussion. Thank you for sharing your expertise.